Come, Mr. Tallyman, come tally me banana. Daylight come and we won't go home.
What is going on? Welcome to my full day of eating, my friends. This is a video where I will be showing you all of the meals that I eat in a single day. And today, I want to talk to you guys about, first off, my cast. I broke my wrist in 3 different places, so I'll have this on for the next 4 weeks, but we're gonna train around it, and it's gonna be my first time at the gym today, and I have an idea with straps and all that kind of stuff where I'm gonna be able to still use my arm kinda. We'll get into that, we'll see. But today I wanna talk about the topic that I always get asked, which is how do I increase the amount of calories that I eat? I'm not able to put on a lot of calories. I get, sick or tired, or I just get full, and I'm gonna be talking to you guys about a few different tips and how you can get more calories down on a vegan diet. But first, let's get to breakfast. All right, good morning. Good morning. Oh, look who it is.
Good
the
morning.
Bay Diva Queen herself. Woo.
Good morning. Welcome to my house with our Christmas decorations still
September.
up from last year.
Tip number 1 is to eat and or drink more fruits. Not fruit juice that you can buy, but fruits with still the fiber inside of them, because that way you're not just getting like super sugary juice. But the point is, when you eat fruits, you get water, and it's a good way to get hydrated, which makes it easier for you to eat, right? If you're thirsty and you're drinking or eating fruit, you're gonna wanna eat more, and fruit has a lot of calories in it, which is really awesome. Also, fruit is easier, at least for me, to digest in the mornings before I get some cooked food in me, before I have stuff kind of sitting in my stomach. So I like to start my mornings with fruit. That way I can get more calories in the morning, and then I kind of progressively move to more cooked foods as I go. For example, here we have a bunch of passion fruit in my backyard, and there's 20 calories per passion fruit. I probably used about 8 or so passion fruit in here, and this is really tasty. The seeds also help me poop. And so here is my fruit smoothie that I have every single morning, which again, a lot of fruits, a lot of hydration, very easy to put down, digest very quickly. And if you haven't seen this before, then you're probably new to the channel. 3 to 4 frozen bananas sliced up. Then we got about 1.5 cups of mixed fruit. So we got mango, pineapple, and strawberries. I squeezed a big batch of spinach that wasn't flowing everywhere, but I put some spinach in there. I got some cacao nibs, so they're kind of like chocolate chips, but they're natural, have no sugar in them. And then we got a scoop of the Vivo Life raw plant protein. Today we're using vanilla. And then I got a little tiny bit of, no, that's not pure Colombian cocaine. I know it looks like it, but it's actually creatine monohydrate, so I got myself about 5 grams of that. And then we're going to use almond milk for the base, and then we blend. Woo! You guys like my Nelly look? I've been making that joke the entire week, and only like 1 out of 5 people has actually laughed. I think it's pretty awesome. I look like Nelly. Back in the day. I'm not old. So I've been editing for the last hour or 2, which is way harder with the cast. But I've been drinking some Four Sigmatic, and I want to talk about this company because you may remember me visiting Four Sigmatic way back in the vegan YouTube house. So it was actually really fun that day because the whole house went and we got to see the LA spot. I got to see all the different products. They made us a bunch of different drinks, and I have seen them in Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and Sprouts all the way up to that point, and I'd never tried their products. And then they kind of explained the science behind it, which is like the fact that there's Reishi, Chaga, lion's mane, Cordyceps mushrooms. They all do different functions for your brain. They do different things for you like energy or focus. So I got really interested in it, and I checked out their products. I hit them up because Elise hooked me up with their contact. So for the last couple of weeks I've been using them. My favorite products for sure is the coffee. I love using the coffee. I use it as a pre-workout. It's also got like the lion's mane and Chaga in there, which is good for productivity and performance. So it's good because it kind of gives me a focus. And then I also really like the hot cocoa mix, because who doesn't like hot cocoa? But yeah, they're buzzing all over social media. So you probably have seen them here or there. If you've thought about trying them, I definitely suggest trying them. Very tasty, very interesting product. It's very easy to make. The instructions are put on every single product, so you just really quickly will read it. All of them, you just pretty much add water. It's just a different amount of water for each one, and you mix them up and then you drink them. So just now I made the Cordyceps mushroom elixir one, which is really good for energy and performance, but it doesn't have caffeine. I like to wait till a little bit later to take caffeine, like before my workout. But yeah, I wanted to mention this product for anybody who's interested. I've gone through 2 boxes of this stuff, so if you guys are interested, there's a 15% off link under this video. That'll be the first thing that you see in the description, like my cast here. So check that out if you are interested. But now we are on to a very interesting idea that I had, a meatball chickpea marinara. All right, so I love meatball marinaras, but I want to do it a little bit different than usual. Instead of doing actual meatball, just like replacement meats, I want to do chickpeas. So I'm just gonna put like half a tablespoon of olive oil in here just so that everything sticks to it. Just a ton of garlic powder. Who really cares, you know, right? You can't go over with garlic. I'm gonna add Italian herbs. It's gonna be kind of hard for me to do this one-handed. Get it all coated. And then check this out, guys. I just got myself an air fryer. I'm so freaking pumped. So I'm just trying out a bunch of experiments. I really hope this one turns out the way I hope it's going to. I'm just gonna put them in there, and I'm only gonna semi-roast them. I'm not gonna super roast them like really hard, because I want them to be crispy. All right, so I'm gonna do it at 390 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm just gonna cook them for like 10 minutes. I don't want them to be full crispy. I want them to be just a little toasted so I can put them inside of the sandwich. Next up, I cut a little tiny bit off the top so that Sammy can have a little sourdough sandwich later as well. And then I opened it up and I just hollowed out just a little tiny bit of the crumbs so there's a little space for the chickpeas to go. So I'm putting that in the oven to toast for a little bit, and then over here, I got a ton of garlic and a ton of onions, probably about 7 or 8 cloves of garlic, because if something is good for you and I love it, I'm gonna go excessive on it. So I'm just toasting these up as well, and then I'm gonna mix them all in just a second. All right, everything is nice and toasted in here, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of Prego. And the reason I use Prego is just because Prego has a lot of salt in it, so I use just a tiny bit to add salt. But then what I really love is this organic marinara. It has no salt added, so there's literally no salt in this at all. It's just the vegetables. And I like to flavor this more, but the mixed makes it like literally perfect. So just a little bit of that as well. Here's what my roasted chickpeas are looking like. Looking pretty freaking good. I'm just gonna add this to the mix over here, and then we're just gonna give it a mix up so that it can all kind of mesh and get the sauce hot. A couple girthy scoops here. I'm gonna leave the rest for Sammy for her sandwich when she gets home from work. Gonna use just a little bit of the mozzarella from So Delicious. Every vegan adds just a little nutritional use to everything. Okay, so tip number 2 is, and first off, let me address my hair. It is wild, and I can literally not put it up into a bun right now because I can't use my other hand. Tip number 2 is, if you have trouble eating, really whole foodsy, healthy foods, and you aren't able to get the calories that you want to in doing that, eat stuff that you like. I know it's not necessarily the healthiest, but if you're trying to get calories in, you have to get your body used to eating that many calories. So you can start by eating a little bit more processed, a little bit like more junky food, things that you're gonna really enjoy, so you're gonna eat the whole thing, and then slowly change things so that they're a little bit more whole foodsy. So right now I'm using chickpeas instead of alternative meatballs, or just generally move to more whole foods as you get more used to eating more calories. But also another tip is eat lower sodium, because if you eat a lot of sodium and get dehydrated, it'll be a lot harder to continue eating a lot of food. If you are going to eat something that does have a decent amount of sodium, like for example this bread has about 700 milligrams of sodium in the part that I'm using, and then we have a little bit of sodium from the cheese, make sure you drink plenty of water. That is a really big helpful tip, because when you're dehydrated, it is really hard to get another 1,000 calories in. Oh, already making a mess. Hallelujah, hallelujah. My chickens are all crowded around me. They're gonna eat a good amount of extra stuff that's falling on the table once I'm done. Boop. Y'all in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8. There you are. All right, so the ladies are in the coop. Basically, they see the sun go down, and then they kind of like stay out as long as they can, looking for more food, or hoping that I'll come out and give them a little more food or whatever. And then they're like, okay, danger, 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 predators later, we know that. So then when they get in the coop, then we lock the coop so that the coyotes, which we have a ton of in San Diego, do not get them. But yeah, I was just sitting out here because I love to be outside during sunsets. I finished editing my video like a couple hours ago, so I came out here and I droned, I did time lapse, and then I just sat here and kind of relaxed a little bit, answered some comments. I love being out here when the colors are like this. It's so freaking beautiful. But also inside I have boiling a bunch of potatoes that are chunked up, and we are gonna make some potato chowder soup, so I'm really excited about that. Okay, so here's the deal. I got a bunch of these chunked potatoes and the carrots. They are boiled up. I probably boiled them for about, I'd say 15 minutes. I wanna make sure they're nice and soft. I'm gonna put them into the blender now and blend them. And then over here, I'm going to add probably about 2 cups of vegetable broth, but I may add more water to make it more soupy rather than just like a lot of mashed potato kind of thing. I've got little chunks of carrots. I've got tempeh cut up, and then I'm gonna put some chickpeas in there as well. So anytime I do any kind of a soup or a stew, I always add a little bit of almond milk when I'm blending all of the, like whatever the base is gonna be, like my broccoli soup also. And that just adds a little bit of creaminess, and then we're gonna add it back into the pot. Looking nice and thick, so I'm just gonna add veggie broth and then the chunks, and that's gonna make it kind of more soup-like for me. And then I also just added about, I'd say about 6, 7, 8 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, just because I like a little bit of a cheesiness to it. And when I make these recipes and they turn out good and I tell you they're good, like, I'm being serious. This is really freaking good. It doesn't taste like mashed potatoes. It tastes like potato chowder soup. If you try this, you will be satisfied. It is freaking bomb. I can't believe this is working.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm so happy, baby.
Yes. And the doctor said I may not be able to work out for 6 weeks. All right, so this is the final meal. It is 1:30 in the morning and we're about to make a ton of food. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make my favorite green bean casserole recipe, which is an amazing way to get greens in. And we're also going to try to replicate our favorite restaurant stir fry, which is like a tofu stir fry. So we got zucchini and carrots cooking up in here. It's just a tiny bit of soy sauce. We got the tofu over here getting nice and crispy. But with the green bean casserole, the first step is just to mince up some garlic, some onions, and cook it down. If you had sliced mushrooms, we would also put that in there, but we do not have any of those, so we are just waiting for this to cook down. Once the garlic and onions and mushrooms are toasted, then I'm putting in a teaspoon of nutmeg in there, a tablespoon of flour, and do not mix those up or it's gonna taste like poop. 1 cup of veggie broth, 1 cup of any plant-based milk. We're using almond milk, and then this is basically like the gravy of it, and then we're just going to add our green beans in here. And we're just gonna let this simmer for like 4 or 5 minutes, just I guess however al dente you want your green beans to be. So that is it. It is 2 in the morning. I cannot wait to eat this giant feast that we have. And the green bean casserole is something we made a long time ago on the channel. If you've been watching for a long time, shout out. I want to see it in the comments if you remember us eating this, but it's really, really freaking good. Actually, everything we made today is really good. You should try all of the meals today. It's like a freaking 10 out of 10 full day eating. The final tip, make sure you check how much fiber you're getting while you are eating a lot of calories, because if you are getting a lot of fiber and you are not very good at eating a lot of calories yet, it is going to be very, very difficult because the fiber is going to fill you up very quickly. So I would suggest slowly upping the amount of fiber that you eat while you're eating high calories until your body is used to it. Like for example, this meal that we're about to have has so much fiber in it, but for me, I literally don't have to think about fiber at all. Like it doesn't even bother me at all, but I know a lot of people, it just stops them dead in their tracks and they won't finish the rest of their meal. I also want to give a big old shout out to Four Sigmatic. I love the company, freaking awesome products and stuff. So if you guys want to check them out, again, the discount code, the link, everything will be under the video in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and subscribe if not subscribed already. Team Beyond the Week, CT.
Lift heavy or die, MIRIN, motherfucker.
Team Beyond the Week.